Emmerdale's Charity Dingle tells another major lie tonight as she desperately tries to stop Ross Barton from blowing up her surrogacy arrangement. As Ross continues to demand answers over the child that Charity is carrying for her granddaughter Sarah Sugden, it's clear that she'll have to do something to keep him at bay. The pub landlady recently learned that she's pregnant after agreeing to have a baby for Sarah and her boyfriend Jacob Gallagher. A successful embryo transfer was credited for the happy news, but Charity had secretly hooked up with Ross around the same time. This naturally raises questions over the paternity of the child. In tonight's episode, Ross corners his former flame at the Woolpack. Unconvinced by her claims that he's not the father, the village rogue bitterly accuses her of lying. Ross reckons the guilt was written all over her face during the baby announcement at the pub, so he warns, "I can read you, Charity. You told me everything I need to know." Charity clutches at straws, claiming that a private scan earlier that morning confirmed her pregnancy resulted from the transfer of Sarah and Jacob's embryo. "How can they tell? Has it got Jacob's mullet?" Ross quips. "They're all the same at that point, it's just a blob." Charity replies, "They did measurements and the timelines don't add up. It's not yours." However, Charity is later seen searching online for answers on how early it's possible to carry out paternity tests on an unborn child. It's obvious that she's deceiving Ross, but does he realize it? Michael Parr, who plays Ross, recently told us, "Nobody should trust Charity, she's a menace." I think he's desperate to find out the answer, because having another child comes with such responsibility. It's a lot of pressure on him, because he's not doing so well with work right now and his living situation isn't ideal as he's always swapping and changing. Plus he's just met his brother Lewis. There's a lot going on for him in his head, so he just needs to get to the bottom of this, so he can get a good night's sleep. Emmerdale's Charity Dingle spinning a dangerous web, Ross Barton's paternity showdown rocks the village. In true Emmerdale fashion, tonight's episode is set to throw the quiet of the Dales into complete disarray as Charity Dingle finds herself once again caught in a web of her own lies. What begins as a tense confrontation between the outspoken Woolpack landlady and her former flame Ross Barton spirals into a high-stakes game of bluff, deception, and emotional brinkmanship, all revolving around the most sensitive question of all. Who is the real father of her unborn child? The calm before the storm. The day begins with the kind of deceptive tranquility only a soap can deliver. In the early scenes, the Woolpack is just waking up, chairs still stacked, coffee brewing in the back, and the faint murmur of radio chatter filling the air. Charity, ever the master of disguise when it comes to her emotions, moves about the bar with an unusual briskness, polishing glasses as if her life depended on it. But beneath the surface, a storm is brewing. She's barely slept, tossing and turning through the night after learning that Ross has been asking questions, dangerous questions, about the baby she's carrying for her granddaughter Sarah Sugden and Sarah's boyfriend Jacob Gallagher. In Soapland, secrets rarely stay buried for long, and Charity's latest one is teetering on the edge of exposure. While she's officially the surrogate for Sarah and Jacob's much-wanted child, she knows there's a possibility, a very real one, that the baby isn't from the embryo transfer at all. Because around the same time, in a moment of weakness, or madness, depending on who you ask, Charity ended up in Ross Barton's bed. A complicated history. To anyone new to Emmerdale, the Charity-Ross dynamic might look like a casual fling gone awry. But longtime viewers know better. This isn't the first time their lives have crossed in scandalous fashion. Ross Barton, the rough-edged, charismatic troublemaker with a knack for winding up on the wrong side of the law, has a history of complicated romances and messy entanglements. Charity, meanwhile, is practically the village's poster girl for romantic chaos, her past littered with lovers, betrayals, and schemes that would make a chess grandmaster dizzy. Their brief rekindling was never going to end with tidy goodbyes and polite handshakes. The connection between them has always been fiery, but with fire comes danger. And now, with a possible pregnancy link between them, the stakes are higher than either could have predicted. The confrontation at the Woolpack. Midway through tonight's episode, Ross finally makes his move. The pub is in full swing by then, clinking glasses, laughter from a table of regulars, and the background hum of country music from the jukebox. Charity is behind the bar when she sees him walk in. He's all swagger and steel, his leather jacket slung over one shoulder, eyes scanning the room until they land on her. The conversation starts casually enough. He orders a pint, tosses a couple of coins onto the counter, and leans in. "Ross, we need to talk. Now." Charity. Tight smile. "Oh, lovely. My favorite sentence." What follows is a tense verbal dance, Ross, pressing for answers, Charity, sidestepping each jab with her usual quick wit. Ross accuses her outright of lying, of playing games with the truth about the baby's paternity. He brings up the way she looked during the baby announcement, pale, tense, almost guilty. Ross. I can read you, Charity. Always could. You told me everything I needed to know without saying a word. Charity fires back with a carefully crafted story. She'd had a private scan earlier that morning, and the measurements proved the baby was conceived from Sarah and Jacob's embryo. Ross. Oh, right. Did they check if it's got Jacob's mullet? Because at this stage, it's just a blob. The pub regulars chuckle in the background, unaware of the seriousness under the banter. Charity forces a laugh but her eyes flicker, just for a moment, with uncertainty. Charity. They did the measurements, Ross. The timelines don't add up. It's not yours. Behind closed doors, the truth unravels. What Ross doesn't see is that later, in the back room of the Woolpack, Charity's hands are shaking as she fumbles with her phone. She's frantically searching online for answers. Earliest paternity test pregnancy UK, DNA test unborn baby safe. The glow of the screen highlights her furrowed brow. She knows she's lying. She knows Ross is right to doubt her. But she's also convinced that telling him the truth would be a disaster, for Sarah, for Jacob, and perhaps most of all, for herself. The danger isn't just that Ross might be the father. It's that he's in a fragile place in his life. Work has been patchy, his living situation unstable, and he's just reconnected with his brother Lewis. Dropping a potential fatherhood bombshell into that mix could send him spiraling. Michael Parr speaks out. Michael Parr, who plays Ross, sheds light on his character's state of mind. Nobody should trust Charity, she's a menace. I think Ross is desperate to find out the truth, but he's also terrified of what it could mean. Having another child is a huge responsibility, and right now he's barely holding it together. This storyline is about more than just paternity. It's about Ross's sense of stability, his identity, and his future. Parr hints that Ross's search for the truth will become more relentless in the coming weeks, with dramatic consequences. Fan reactions and social media buzz. Even before the episode airs, the fandom is in overdrive. Twitter, or X, as it's now known, is filled with theories. Ross is definitely the dad. You can see it in Charity's face. Charity lying? Groundbreaking. Next you'll tell me the sky's blue. Poor Sarah. Imagine finding out your surrogate's baby might be her ex's uncle's kid? Only in Emmerdale. Some fans, however, are holding out hope that Charity's telling the truth, not out of faith in her honesty, but out of concern for the emotional carnage if she isn't.